How's it, guys? So I'm going to run another video about this. So if you've got our, excuse the fingers, but I work for a living. If you've got our voltage sensor installed on your camo or any boat, it doesn't have to be the camo, or any sort of voltage sensor on a boat, you can see there's your RX, right? And you can see that my battery is currently at 15.43, right? Okay, and we're kind of on the low limit, kind of between worlds, right? Now I keep getting phone calls and guys saying, but you know, since you've installed the sensor, I'm getting less runs out of my boat, and it's telling me it's flat the whole time. You've got to understand that the voltage sensor is obviously monitoring the voltage, and it's set up at the battery's parameters. So when you did not have a voltage sensor installed, you were obviously pushing your boat or your battery beyond its limit, should I say. Now that you've got some sort of monitoring on there, now you are obviously being advised that your battery is at the low point, and you're not going to push it beyond the point where you're going to start damaging the battery. So in hindsight, you were probably pushing the battery beyond a point before and running it flat, and which is obviously not good. Now that you can monitor it, people are getting worried that, hang on, but now I'm getting less runs out of this boat. Now keep in mind, so let's go into my settings I'm running a 4-cell. So now if I go to my RX setup and what I've set to monitor the battery at, you can see there, high point on a 4-cell is 16.8, alarm point, which is 15% left of the battery, is 14.8, and I've set it a bit low, for a bit lower than that for the low point. That's when you should pull the battery out, as 14.8, right? That's when you've got 15 to 20% left of the battery. That's kind of the safe limit that you want to take a LiPo down at. On a lead acid, it would be obviously about 50% of the battery's capacity. Now, that being said, when the boat's under load, right, especially when it's in the water, it's going to be pulling a hell of a lot of amps, and your low point, that battery is going to drop right below the low point because it's pulling a lot of amps. There is no way that the LiPo can maintain itself above the minimum voltage while it's pulling a lot of amps. It's obviously drawing current from that battery. It will drop below the low point. It will start screaming at you while you're riding out with the boat. It will start screaming at you. Only be concerned about it screaming at you when the boat's at rest, because obviously there's no load on the battery. Then that's when you should look at the voltage and say, oh, hang on, okay, I can still squeeze another run out of this, but hell, it's going to scream at me now because obviously it's dropping between the two worlds, half and minimum. That's just one of those things. If it irritates you, well, then set the parameter right down, but then you're visually going to have to look, when do I get to my 14.8? Because that's when I must pull that battery. It's obviously not going to warn you that it's flat, because you obviously dropped the low point or the alarm point right down to get rid of the irritation of the screaming. But that is the only real way of getting rid of the noise. Then you would have to visually look at that battery's parameter. Cool, man, I hope that explains it. So it's not that you're getting less runs, it's just you're more advised as to where the battery is currently sitting at status wise, which is better. I'd say live with the noise, because then at least you know you're looking after the battery and you're pulling it out at the right time, rather than pushing it beyond its limit and causing your LiPo to fail prematurely because you're running it below the safe point. Okay, hope that explains everything.